Update. Am I the a-hole for checking out of my relationship after my girlfriend cheated on me? Original post. I, male 31, have been in a relationship with my girlfriend Mia, female 29, for a bit more than 2 years. Overall, life has been good for us, and our relationship has always felt very strong. For most of our time together, I imagined that we'd eventually get married, have kids, and grow old together. Mia said that is what she wanted several times herself. Starting around June of this year, Mia started acting strangely. She became stressed out with her work and became very snappy towards me. I tried my best to be supportive during this time, given that she had just started a new job, but she would constantly pushing me away. I got suspicious when I started noticing how protective she was of her work phone around me. She'd be reading stuff on it all the time and always looked so happy while doing so. Whenever I would come by, she would quickly lock the screen. This continued for a few weeks, and I'm not proud to admit, but I started shoulder surfing Mia whenever she'd bring out her work phone. And after about a week of this, I learned a password. What's ironic is around this time I was also ring shopping, as I had planned on proposing some point in the fall, but that never panned out. So, one day in August when Mia was out with some of her friends, I took this as an opportunity to go through her work phone, and what I found completely destroyed me. I really don't want to get into details, but in summary, Mia started a relationship with one of her coworkers, Paul. From what I can tell, it went on for about 2 months. Paul kept on pressing her to leave me, but Mia seemed reluctant and kept on giving him excuses for why she couldn't leave, but reassured him that she'd continue seeing him. When Mia came home, I confronted her and she surprisingly owned up to it. She apologized and cried more than I ever remember. She said she never meant to hurt me and that she'd take it back if she could. She claimed that her stress and depression clouded her judgment and that Paul was a loser who couldn't compare to me. I don't remember much of the conversation, but do remember it ending with us agreeing to take a break from each other for a few weeks so that I could gather my thoughts. She moved in with one of her friends that night. The pain and disappointment I felt over the next few weeks were crippling. Over time, I feel like I completely morphed into an angry and bitter person. I honestly don't even recognize myself sometimes. Mia returned back to my apartment at the start of October and apologized again. She said that she couldn't even imagine the pain she brought me and has vowed to never cheat again. I do believe her, as she has asked Paul to not contact her unless it was work-related, and she has been trying her utmost to repair things with me. She is constantly putting in maximum effort to please me and is adamant that there is no one else she'd rather spend the rest of her life with. We have also started couples therapy on Mia's dime. But to be completely honest, I'm checked out of this relationship, as everything about Mia annoys me now, from how she looks to the sound of her voice. At this stage, I've made up my mind that I want to dump her. The experience has spoiled this relationship for me. I've also started chatting with some other women on dating apps. I've been on some dates and spent a few nights away. I'm 90% certain that Mia knows what I'm up to, as I have not been discreet about what I've been doing at all. For example, a few nights ago I was going on a date. I'm guessing Mia knew, as she asked me where I was going. I told her it was none of her concern. She seemed hurt by this but didn't press me any further. She'll randomly say things like, "I love you," or "You mean so much to me," but I either just nod or act like I didn't hear her. I was telling a few of my friends about this last night, and they both think I should just dump her immediately since I'm wasting my own time, and Mia isn't worth getting angry over. One of them suggested that I post here to gain some insights from a wider audience, since it thinks I'm being a bit of an a-hole for dragging this out. So here I am. For those wondering, I'll probably be dumping her and kicking her out of my apartment at some point in January. You're the a-hole. You would have been fine if you just broke up with her, but she's clearly trying to make things work with you, and you are cheating on her and stringing her along. Break up with this poor girl already. Goddamn. Poor girl? She a damn user. And how is she a user? She sees what you did is wrong. She is actively trying to fix it. She's bringing you both to therapy with her own money, and you are cheating on her. Seems like you are the user in this situation. Using me to pay for our living expenses so that she can focus on her student loans. All under the guise of loving me, yet being with another guy on the side. If that isn't using, then I don't know what is. Everyone sucks here as you're now cheating too. What the heck, dude? Just end things and try to salvage a little integrity. Having been exactly his position, I'll go out on a limb and say he's not necessarily the a-hole. I do believe he should stop messing around and end it though, but only because what he's doing is detrimental to him, not her. We all react to trauma in different ways. Being cheated on by someone you not only loved, but thought you'd spend the rest of your life with, it was ring shopping mind you, almost feel like you've completely lost the person entirely. You legitimately grieve, because the person you thought they were has basically died, and all that remains is a husk of the person you loved. You see cruelly slapped together puppet that smiles with her face, laughs with her voice, and touches with her skin, but it's not them anymore. And you're not even really sure it ever was. Some may even extrapolate this realization to other people and come to terms with the fact that you can't really know or trust anyone. Not completely. This kind of grief can take years to truly recover from. OP, you need to just dump her and move on, for your sake. You'll never really begin to start healing until the ghost of your loved one is out of your life. I'm sorry for your loss. Not the a-hole. You tried with therapy. It didn't work. That's not your fault. It's hers. Nothing to feel guilty about. Honestly, I've made up my mind before therapy. At the time, I low-key just wanted her to waste some money on it. Yeah, it was vindictive, but at the time I wanted to do that. Dude, she blamed cheating on depression and said the guy was pathetic. If she went to him, she couldn't have thought very highly of you. Lol, she said it to make me feel better, I guess. But in retrospect, it's like, you cheated on me with someone who is pathetic by your own admission. Yeah, it's pretty funny for her to say, this guy's pathetic. Then have him be the reason she ruined a relationship. She's admitting she's a slut who is willing to ruin something good for someone pathetic or just too stupid to say no. Glad to hear you are doing well. You'll find someone better. Now for the update. I ended up dumping my girlfriend last night. She was very upset, but I think she knew it was coming. She's been walking in eggshells around me since we got from our break, and I have to admit she was definitely trying to make things work. I'm also fairly certain she knew I was going on dates with other women for the last few weeks because I wasn't being particularly discreet about that. She did cry a little and suggested that we continue therapy, but I declined this offer as I don't think this relationship was salvageable. She's staying with one of her friends across town for now, and they'll be collecting her things on Sunday. She needs to find somewhere new to live as her friend realistically cannot house her for long. And considering how expensive and difficult it is to find somewhere, I suppose it will be tough for her for the next few weeks. I do somewhat regret wasting so much of my time keeping her around and pretending I was getting something out of therapy, but whatever. Can't change the past. I'm just glad she's out of my hair now. I don't blame you for leaving after she cheated. That's an unforgivable thing for me and for a lot of people. However, pretending you wanted to work it out when you weren't and cheating yourself wasn't the way to go. Yeah, they both seem slimy to be honest. He gives me the impression he wanted to just see if he could do better, and if he couldn't, he would forgive. Blah. Meh, the way I see it, there's an element of forfeiture involved. She cheated. I don't think he should have to decide how to handle it based on her feelings. If the cheater gets manipulated and cheated on themselves, that's a-okay with me. Even if she cheated, which is horrible, feigning you wanted it to work and going on dates with other women while still in a relationship makes you a sleazy dude too. In retrospect, it wasn't great for me. But honestly, this experience made me bitter and I'd say a worse person, so it felt right at the time. You can blame her for what you did, but you cannot blame her for your emotionally immature reaction and manipulative tactics. Hoping that you can let go of this in a healthy way and treat your next partner with more dignity and respect than that, regardless of what they do to you. I don't know, I only acted the way I acted because she cheated. The reason she wanted us to work it out was because I was such an excellent partner beforehand. Like I said above, the experience made me bitter. Dude, how can you make the point and still miss it? That is the problem. An experience can make you bitter, yes, but you chose to react in an unproductive manner. You can say to yourself, yeah, I showed her, but you also held yourself back and dated other people while technically still committed. To be honest, that isn't much better than cheating. You mistake me. At the time, I wasn't trying to be the bigger person. I wanted to waste her time and money and let her think that we could work things through. I dumped her because I eventually wanted to move on and was tired of keeping her around. I promise you this feels good for now, but in the long run, I don't gather you learned anything from what happened and will probably walk right into a similar situation soon. Sticking around while you date other women openly and pretend to go to therapy is a crappy thing to do, regardless of what you did to deserve it, and nothing about you did should make you feel any better. Growth is an option. Now for the last update. My ex came by to collect her things this morning. She texted me last night asking if the morning would be better than the afternoon we had planned. I accepted this since I kind of wanted this out of the way as soon as possible. She came with one of her friends, and they stayed for about an hour. We didn't talk much during that time. They just packed her things and took a few trips downstairs to put them in a car. I stayed in my home office the entire time, as I didn't want to interact with them. Once they finished, my ex came back downstairs alone, left me my second mail keys on the kitchen counter, and called me over to lock the door. We said our goodbyes and she left. She seemed and looked very upset throughout the entire ordeal, but thankfully left quietly. It's now over. My apartment feels kinda strange now. If I'm being completely honest, I'd seriously consider moving myself if it wasn't in such a convenient location. Redecorate instead of moving. Make it your own. Things that you did not like but you did. This. Buy a new bed, sheets, etc. Change the bedroom completely if you can't afford it. Make it your apartment and keep it neat. Fortunately, she's been keeping the house very tidy for the past few weeks, so I don't have much cleaning to do. Though I have started rearranging things and do plan on donating a bunch of this stuff. A new candle or incense will make it smell your own too. Not the a-hole. You did what you had to do. Things will get easier over time. Take solace in the fact you still have your self-respect. The world is full of lonely young women. There's a girl who values you as much as you value her waiting for you. You just have to go find her. Good luck. Thanks, I appreciate it. At this stage, I think I'll probably be taking a break from relationships for a bit. Lol. Not the a-hole. Crazy that people were giving you grief for going on dates when she was still living with you, insisting that you were stringing her along. With this logic, your ex was also stringing you along while she was cheating on you, but none of them brought that up. Lol. Regardless of whether I was stringing her along or not, I don't feel too bad about doing it. I wanted to waste her time and money, and once I had my fill of that, there was no more reasons for us to stay together. Sure, I wasted my own time, but I now feel that we both leave this relationship being burnt versus just me being burnt. You shouldn't feel bad. She didn't care about what you did to you and then try to love bomb you to get you to stay. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not impregnating my high school crush? I, 37 male, am a single father to a beautiful girl, 9 female. She is my pride and joy, and life is great with her. But she is the only one I will ever have as I have been snipped a few years ago. I don't really tell people about it. It's my own business. Not that I don't want any more children, I just don't want any more baby mamas. My daughter's mother and I have an amicable relationship, but it's taken a lot of work and emotional anguish to get here. I can't say the next one would be as amicable, so I made a decision to get myself vasectomized. Maggie, 37 female, has been a crush of mine for the past 20 plus years. She's unmarried, no children, and works as a gymnastics instructor, which keeps her fit. She's just as beautiful as the girl I've fought over in high school. I've moved away while she stayed in our hometown, but we've kept in touch and grown to be really good friends. She adores my daughter and comments frequently on how much my daughter has grown in years, with love reacts and emojis. Nothing out of the norm, I just took it as her being nice. A couple years back, I admitted my crush to her as I feel we're mature enough to be embarrassed by it, or her make fun of it. She took it well, but we never pursued anything from it. That is, until this last Christmas. My daughter and I flew home to spend holidays with my family. My parents were ecstatic to see their granddaughter, and my brother's kids were happy to see their cousin. Maggie saw that I was in town through social media and messaged me. We made a date for lunch when my parents were available to watch my daughter. We met at a coffee shop and she threw her arms around me and put her head on my chest. High school me would have felt a little tight in the pants, but I just hugged her back. Coffee turned to dinner, turned to drinks. In the middle of drinks, the conversation turned intimate when she finally blurted out, "OP, put a baby in me," in between giggles, and I laughed along. I took it as an invite back to her place where we eventually ended up. I introduced Maggie to my daughter and they hit it off really well. I definitely felt this could sprout into a full-on relationship. My daughter isn't used to me dating as most of my time revolves around work and being a full-time father. She supported me pursuing Maggie and explained she can hang out with my parents and her cousins while I did my thing. We split the week between my hotel and her place. I flew back thinking we were going to be a thing for good. The last week she called me sad, telling me she's not pregnant, wouldn't always use protection. I asked if it was a good thing to get pregnant at the beginning of this relationship, and she broke down to confess that her bio clock was ticking and just wanted to get pregnant. She chose me because of how beautiful my daughter is, but it wasn't going to make me raise our child if I didn't want to. She has no intentions for a relationship. Am I the a-hole for not telling her about my procedure and can't give her a baby? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole and run. That's grade A crazy. She essentially used you and it backfired completely. They have doctors and sperm banks for that kind of thing, not your random old friend in social media that's daughter you think is pretty. That's crazy as heck and creepy. And a song sounds in the back of my head. She's a maniac, maniac. Yeah, I wonder why she's still single. Definitely do not agree with people saying Opie should have known and calling abuse, etc. He got the info about baby fever after they, what he thought, started a relationship. How can he know the "put a baby" comment wasn't just a flirt? It's easy to judge in retrospect when you know the details, and specifically as he obviously only presented the things that were said that is relevant for the story, and not everything else in their interaction. If they spent a whole day at night plus several more dates together, talking and interacting, that one single comment wouldn't have been a clue to anything at all. Not the a-hole. Yeah, would have thought she just meant she wanted to have fun in bed, since that seems to be a common term for it lately. Would not have thought she was serious about it. And the vasectomy just paid for itself. Not the a-hole. P.S. Run. She crazy.